Hi, this is Rose McDonough, and I'm a retired home ec teacher. And I always say about recipes, yeah, I found this recipe a long time ago, and I've adapted it, as you can obviously see. I've got writing all over it, and it's a make ahead or make that morning breakfast casserole. We love breakfast here. Well, Bob and I love breakfast. The kids love breakfast when they get up later, but we like breakfast, and sausage is such an easy thing to do. So I've started out crumbling sausage already. Can you hear it? I put water in it when I first started it, and now that the water has evaporated out, almost all of the fat is gone. I'm going to lift this up a little bit, and you can see how very little fat there is left in there. And I'm going to leave that in there for right now because I'm going to take my green pepper that I have done, that I've already pre-chopped up, and I'm going to put my green pepper in there. I just want to soften it just a little bit. It's not major cooking, just a little bit of softening it. And I did use Bob Evans, Down on the Farm, used to be a commercial about that. I used this sausage, and I wanted to leave this to show you. I cut it in half, and then I squeeze in. If you want to cut it on one side or try to work around this metal, that's fine, but I never do that. I just cut it in half and I squeeze it in. So that's in there. Then, while this is cooking just a little bit, just enough to soften it, and all I'm going to do is, now that it's heated all the way through, is I'm going to turn this off and let it sit in there. I've also chopped up mushrooms. I like mushrooms in mine. You may not like mushrooms. Don't use them then. I chopped up about 5 mushrooms sliced. You're wondering why they're this color? They're called baby bells. That's why they are the brown ones. You can add spinach to this. You can add onions to this. You add whatever you want. I will say that if you're going to add spinach, make sure you squeeze it to get all the liquid out of it, because if you don't, it seems like it's not setting when in fact it's the liquid that's taking up too much. As I started to make this, I realized, oh my gosh, I don't have enough milk to do this, because I don't generally drink milk. And that's fine. I always keep cans of evaporated milk. If you don't like evaporated milk, you can also use coconut milk. These are things that I keep in my house just in case I need them. So I have 6 eggs in here. I'm going to whisk them up really quickly. Whisking is with your wrist. It's not with your whole arm. We're not stirring, we're whisking. That's all it is. So it's got to be this motion that's going on. So we're going to whisk this up. And then I'm going to add, some prepared mustard to it, or yellow traditional mustard. I use this in lots of stuff. Just gives it a little bit better flavor. If you have dried mustard, you're probably going to add about a teaspoon. It was a little over a teaspoon. Finish whisking that up. I'm going to go back over here just to toss this a little bit longer. I can see that the green peppers are just starting to break down. And that's what we want, because it's going to be in the oven at 350 for about 45 to 50 minutes. And I want them to be a little bit softer. You see me keep doing this? It's because they tell you, shake it well before you use this. This is a 12-ounce can, which means it's a cup and a half. And I'm going to open it up on both sides. And I'm going to toss it into the sink to be washed again. And then I'm going to add my milk in. So again, that's a cup and a half of milk. If you wanted to, you could add some water to this if you needed to. Water is fine. In fact, I use water when I make my scrambled eggs. But for this one, I do prefer to use the milk. All right, so also, while I've got this going on, you don't have to use sausage. You can use ham, you can use bacon, or you don't have to use any meats. You can choose instead that you want to make it completely vegetarian. Now let's go back over to my 13 by 9 pan. I already sprayed it, and I put frozen potatoes in. And while I was getting the meat cooked, I just went over and pulled this out. And I got it just until they started to soften up, because that's how I prefer to do it. Feels like later you have to cook it a little bit longer if you don't. All right, let me make sure I have everything else going on. So I've got this. I've got the meat. I've got the eggs that I've whisked up. I have this. And I'm going to need cheese. I wanted sharp cheese. All I had in my refrigerator was a mild cheddar cheese. So I thought, well, that's all right. I have a block of cheese, so I can grate it. I'm going to start putting this together just a little bit, just so you can see how it looks, and get some things out of my way, so that as I'm grating, I'm not getting crazy. I'm going to use, I love when that sound goes away. It means I'm using everything over here. And I'm trying really hard to make sure I'm leaving that little bit of fat in there in the pan. And it looks just a little bit shiny. That's what I want those green peppers to look like. Now, not everybody likes to have mushrooms. So if you have part of your family doesn't like mushrooms, only put mushrooms on part of it. We like the mushrooms, so I'm going to spread my mushrooms out all over here. And now I'm going to start with my cheese. I put down a piece of wax paper, and I'm going to take this part, and I'm just going to spread some cheese out on here. And I want to go ahead and show you a few more. Why you're thinking, I would buy cheese already grated. Yeah, okay, that's fine. But again, what if you don't have it? If you have a grater, I have no idea how old this grater is. This was my mom's grater. I'm guessing it was probably a grandmother's grater, so I have no idea. But I realized when I was teaching, not everybody knew how to grate cheese, and so I want to make sure that you know how to do it. This part is where it's the knife part. That's the only way I can say it. Not on your way back up again. So you go starting at a corner, top to bottom, top to bottom. When you get to the bottom, take your cheese off, and then, I'm kind of got it done on that side. Flip it over, top to bottom, top to bottom. Quickly, you're done. I have a point. Let's get rid of the point. Top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom, and you have long, lovely pieces. There's going to be a point that you're going to have to hope that you do not mash anything against your own hand or your knuckles. I've done that before, unfortunately. Each time you run out of a point, you want to switch the cheese around, and hopefully, it's only going to take me a second or two more to do this, and I'm going to get the rest. This was an 8-ounce chunk. An 8-ounce, it's about maybe 1.5 cups to 2 cups of cheese once it's already been grated out. And I could have measured it, but I didn't. It depends on what kind of grating you're doing. If you're doing a thin grating, you're going to get, it's going to appear that it's less. I'm going to put my hand in here and take out the rest of the cheese. What you might notice, I don't have a ton of cheese just mashed into the side of this. If I were not standing here doing this with you, I would already have some hot water in the sink, and I would immediately put this down so that that cheese starts to clean off. Otherwise, you let it sit for somebody else to clean up in a couple of hours, they get mad. It's a lot of work. The sooner you clean up, the faster it goes for everybody. All right, got the rest of this on here. Doesn't it look beautiful? I think it does. And now I need to add my eggs and my milk to it. If you want to add salt and pepper, you surely can add salt and pepper at this time. I'm not going to add anything to it. Whisking again to make sure all the eggs are done and it looks gorgeous. As you pour in, make sure you get to the outsides. Of course, it will get over there eventually, but you want to make sure that you get the top part all nice and wet. And it just works itself through. This is a 13 by 9 glass pan. I have the temperature set at 350. Some people will tell you if you're using glass to put it down, to put the temperature down, which you surely can. I find with this one, 350 is fine. I wouldn't go any higher. If you're using metal, maybe you want to go at 375. And of course, I'm using my rubber scraper because look at that. That was an entire almost tablespoon of liquid that I was able to get out. We may as well have the lovely eggs in here. I'm going to flatten the cheese out. I don't want it to burn. There we go. Looks good. And we're going to throw it in the oven. Well, I'm going to lay it in the oven. I'm not going to actually throw it because then I'd have a mess to clean up later. We're going to put it in the oven. I'm going to set the timer for 45 minutes and check it. If it's ready to go in 45 minutes, that's great. I'll pull it out. If not, I'm going to let it go another 5 minutes. How will I know? Because it will stop rolling. It will set. You will be able to tell that the eggs are set. And once I pull that out of the oven, we're going to wait about 6 more minutes before we actually eat it because we need the eggs to gel. All right, I'll see you in just a couple minutes. I was wrong. It only needed 35 minutes. I was smelling it. It started to smell good. I looked at it. I checked it. It was like, oh, okay, it's done. I could see on the sides that the eggs had started to coming away from the sides of the pan. So I'm ready to go, and I've already gone ahead. I pulled across the side. I'm going to give a nice big piece in here. It stopped doing its thing, which I always say it does this and wiggles. Okay, I know I'm being really weird. but it wiggles and wiggles and jiggles, but it's ready to go. Get this in here. Why is the first piece always the hardest to get out? I don't care if it's cake, if it's pie, it's whatever, but that piece is always the hardest. So I'm going to lift this out, put it down over here, and slide it. And now you get to see what the layers look like. Absolutely delicious. Can eat it like this, no problem whatsoever. But I like to put a spoonful of salsa on top of mine. You don't have to do that, but that's how I'm going to choose to eat mine right now. I could have made this yesterday, put it in the refrigerator overnight, and just baked it this morning. If you bake it in the morning, you definitely need to add the 5 to 10 minutes longer to it because it will have been cold. But this was all warm when I put this together. All right, this is my breakfast casserole. You can do it with bread on the bottom, but I like to do potatoes better. You don't have to use potatoes. If you can use a pie crust, but then you're making a quiche, so it's something different. All right, so let me see who I'm pulling out here today. I'm going to try not to look. I have no idea whose name. Ah, Garrett Bennett. Garrett Bennett had been a student of mine who used to always say, don't go to Mrs. McDonough's classroom. She always finds work for you to do. So Garrett, you should come on over, and you should be hanging out here making something with me, and then I'll be really doing work with you. And, oh, Terry Huffnagel. Terry Huffnagel is the parent of a student that I had who says nice things about me when she watches my videos, and I really appreciate that. Thank you. Please subscribe, like it, leave comments. I need comments, and I need some ideas. What else are you looking for me to do? I'd love to know. Enjoy your day, and I'll see you again here soon. Bye.